Great fan, great guy. In fact, I want to find out what's going on with him. You know what look at my African-American over here. Look at him.
I just love you.
No, that's good.
I'm curious to know who gave the Democratic Party the authority to speak for Black America, for African Americans? Who gave the liberal Democratic Party the right to speak as if though they are our voice to the public? Just because you put a black face up there, like Reid, trust me, she's a millionaire. She does not have our best interests at heart. But for everyone who wants to question everything that I have to say, question this. Dr. Claude Anderson on the Breakfast Club said in the future that they're going to allow immigration to happen to displace African Americans in America when it comes to voting rights. Yeah, and it happened. And guess what else? Funny thing has it is, as soon as the Biden administration got into power, they started rolling back all the things that Donald Trump did for African Americans.
Found out that this midnight basketball isn't getting them together, a bunch of jive folks living in their city to do, try to see if they can be Michael Jordan. When they found out, they were keeping schools open, so gangs come off streets instead of out raping my mother, marauding me, robbing the local store. They're in a gymnasium, and my daughter will be safer, my wife will be safer, my mother will be safer, and I will be safer. And I will be happy.
Tucker Carlson just obliterated this journalist who was trying to make him look like a racist. The former top-rated Fox News host, who later started his Tucker Carlson News Network, a streaming platform, was in Canberra, Australia, to speak and ultimately spar with various media members on various topics, including the Great Replacement Theory, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and the efficacy of vaccines in a post-COVID world. In a roughly 6-minute video, a female reporter from the Australian Associated Press asked Carlson about the Great Replacement Theory and how he mentioned it on his former Fox News show some 4,000 times, which Carlson refuted, asking for citations. In fact, he responded by noting that he never said that whites are being replaced, not one time, and that his comments on the issue applied to all native-born regardless of race. Conservatives quickly took to X to show their support for Carlson's statements and basically how he shut down what some people are calling this rude reporter. Laura Logan, a former 60 Minutes correspondent, said Tucker was great before this, but now he will for sure go down as one of the greatest of all time. So meet the GOAT or the greatest of all time. Ultimately, Carlson used the moment to express his sentiments, saying that he resented how media organizations and journalists were now aligning with government and the powerful. It also goes to show how the anti-woke movement is picking up. In fact, did you guys hear the study in Finland showing how woke people are more likely to be unhappy, anxious, and depressed? Yeah, that's right, guys. Definitely some interesting stuff. And more about Tucker Carlson. He just announced a live tour coming 2 months before the election. So in September, the former Fox News personality will be taking his show on the road, joined by a constellation of prominent conservatives, including Donald J. Trump, Megyn Kelly, and Dan Bongino. What can we expect from the man, the legend that is Tucker Carlson? Well, that's what we're going to find out here today, guys. Are you guys ready? Let's go and dive right in. Okay, now I've talked about it enough for starters. It's time that you check out a snippet of Tucker Carlson's takedown for yourself. Check it out here.
And so you need to fix the economy and fix the culture and make it so that people who want to have kids can. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. Like, that's my position. And if you think that's racist, that's your problem.
I never called you a racist.
But of course you are suggesting, and
well,
I must say, one of the reasons people don't like people like you in the media is that you never say exactly what you mean. Your slurs are all by implication, and you're about to tell me the Great Replacement Theory is racist or anti-Semitic, whatever. The whole point of your question was to be like, you're a scary racist.
Well, I haven't.
And my response is, no, I'm not. Okay, well, how about no more lying in your questions, and then I'll answer it.
Okay, well. This is the same theory, or as you say, idea, that has inspired the New York Buffalo shooting, where 11 black Americans were killed. Two white Americans were killed. Like, it's also inspired.
It's not. First of all,
it's inspired the worst, one of the worst Australian guns of all time.
How do they get people this stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. Look, I'm sorry. I've lived among people like you for too long, and I don't mean to call you stupid. Maybe you're just pretending to be, but.
After watching this, you can definitely tell why people love love and gravitate toward Tucker Carlson so much? I mean, you gotta admit, he definitely put her in her place. And when I checked out the comments on the video, it was actually full of Australians saying how Tucker Carlson came to liberate their country, or at least liberate their minds. A lot of Australians, they were so grateful to Tucker Carlson for this and wanted to apologize for that woman's rudeness and idiocy. Tucker Carlson was there as part of Australia's Freedom Conference, described by local media as a multi-city, sold-out live tour sponsored by local mining magnate and billionaire Clive Palmer, who has expressed right-wing talking points from the United States. And in the roughly 6-minute video, a female reporter from the Australian Associated Press asked Carlson about the Great Replacement theory and how he mentioned it on his former Fox News show some 4,000 times, which Carlson refuted, asking for citations. Now, just for a little bit of context, the National Immigration Forum describes the Great Replacement theory as espoused by some extreme conservatives who express fears about non-whites and immigrants gaining more clout and undermining or replacing whites in Western nations while assuming more political power and dominating culture. As for Carlson, he clarified that he said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks. He said African Americans have been in the United States in many cases for over 400 years, and their concerns are every bit as real and valid and alive to me as the concerns of white people whose families have been there for 100 years. And to the reporter, he said, he's never said that whites are being replaced, not one time, and she can't cite it. They just met, but when their relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends. Definitely some good points. Carlson went on to tell the reporter to take his response at face value. He brought up the U.S. birth rate to tell the whole story, saying the U.S. population is growing because of immigration and not more domestic births. As you heard from him on the video, happy people have children. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. That's his position, and if anybody thinks that's racist, that's the problem according to Carlson. When the reporter said that she wasn't calling him racist, Carlson said her statements were indicative of a larger media environment consisting of slurs and implications that negate credibility. Meaning, they never call him a racist, but they sure do imply it a lot. And it doesn't end there, guys. The reporter brought up replacement theory again and linked it to a 2023 mass shooting in Buffalo, New York that resulted in 10 deaths. In response, Carlson expressed his frustration and questioned the competence of media professionals, hinting that perhaps they act clueless because the job doesn't pay well. In his words, how do they get people this stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. He said he didn't mean to call her stupid. Maybe she's just pretending to be. He defended his views, asserting that his statements are not bigoted against any group. They're honest, they're factual, and that's not hate, that's reality. He objected strongly to any suggestion that he could be linked to violent individuals, saying that how dare she try to tie him to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare she, actually? Carlson was then asked about supporting gun control. He responded that a sovereign person has a right to defend themselves and their families, adding that he is opposed to harming anyone. The reporter then asked if he harbors any responsibility for hate crimes, to which he laughed while some in the crowd jeered. Carlson critiqued the local media, disappointed to find it very similar to what he criticizes at home, scripted and uninspiring. He said, the people are so cheerful and funny and cool and smart. He's like, their media has got to be better than ours. It can't just be a bunch of castrated robots reading questions from the boss, and then it turns out to be exactly the same. Maybe even a tiny bit dumber. He later shared his interaction on his website describing the local journalists as adversarial press corps. I mean, they've certainly got something going on if they thought that they could get away with attacking Tucker Carlson like that, right? You know what I mean? Now, if you guys are enjoying the deep dive into Tucker Carlson's perspectives and the fiery takedown that I showed you guys, do me a solid one and hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. It really does help out the channel and it supports us in creating more content like this. And if you have not already, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. That way you won't miss out on any future updates, especially with Tucker's upcoming live tour and all the exclusive content that we're going to be bringing you guys about that. So anyway, let's get back to the discussion and let's see what else Tucker Carlson had to say during his visit to Australia. Conservatives on X, formerly Twitter, had nothing but praise for Carlson's takedown. Benny Johnson said, watch, Tucker nukes liberal reporter after asking her to give an example to back up her claim. Laura Logan, a former 60 Minutes correspondent, said Tucker was great before this, but now he will for sure go down as one of the greatest of all time. Meet the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Conservative media outlet The Daily Caller headline said, Tucker utterly stomps reporter by simply asking for a citation. Liz Churchill was even more straightforward, writing that Tucker just just annihilated one of the stupidest reporters she's ever heard. Many say the reporter needs to learn the difference between a journalist and a propagandist. She's literally trying to spread hate and lies by accusing Tucker of such BS. This is probably part of the reason why Tucker Carlson said he resented how media organizations and journalists were now aligning with governments and the powerful. He said he finds it disgusting and that it's a perfect inversion of what they're supposed to do. If you're a journalist, your job is to challenge power on behalf of the powerless. It's not to align with the powerful against the powerless. And according to Carlson, this is precisely what they've done. He then targeted ABC and the priorities of its reporting. He said he watched their ABC in his hotel room for about 20 minutes until he looked around for a vomit bag. He added that everyone else knows what it is. Everyone else knows how corrupt they are, and so there's a reason why people have contempt for them. Seriously though, guys, I think it also speaks to the anti-woke movement finally taking root in the minds of people. You know what they say, go woke, go broke. Well, it turns out there may be something more to that, as a recent study from Finland found out that woke people are more likely to be unhappy, anxious, and depressed. Psychological researchers in Finland have created an assessment to help measure an individual's commitment to principles of social justice and made some surprising findings across the Finnish public, including a negative correlation between progressive ideals and the levels of happiness. And their findings, published in the Scandinavian Journal of Psychology, suggest other Western nations may see similar patterns among their socially conscious citizens. So yes, that includes the United States. According to the researchers, the most concerning finding was the relationship between mental health and agreement with their scale. Specifically, researchers found a high prevalence of anxiety and depression in people who believe the statement, if white people have on average a higher income than black people, it's because of racism. More broadly, they found that those who identified as left-wing were most likely to report lower mental well-being. I mean, definitely some interesting stuff there, you guys, right? Now, as for Tucker Carlson, lots to look forward to with the man. In fact, he's taking his show on the road in September with a constellation of conservative superstars. In a news release that called Carlson America's leading conservative journalist and media personality, the Tucker Carlson Network announced shows beginning September 4th in Phoenix, Arizona, with comedian Russell Brand, and continuing through September 28th in Jacksonville, Florida, with Donald Trump Jr. Other guests include U.S. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, InfoWars founder Alex Jones, who recently agreed to sell all of his personal assets in order to help pay a judge in a defamation case filed by parents who lost children in the Sandy Hook massacre. One thing the special guests seem to have in common: support for Donald Trump. The former president is not on the schedule yet, but the news release also said the special guest at a couple of shows will be announced later, so look forward to that. For his full list of shows and guests, you guys can check it out online. Just type Tucker Carlson Tour 2024 in Google. The latest details should just pop right up. Now, as for me, the next thing that I recommend that you guys check out after this is our other video on former President Donald Trump and his potential VP pick. Definitely another interesting video for you guys, so definitely click on that one in the description down below of this video. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and a double thanks for lighting up the like button. Let me know what you guys think about what we just talked about. The comment section is wide open. I look forward to hearing from you guys.